All right, it's about that time, so I'm going to go ahead and get started so I have enough time to get through all the data here. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, good. Good. So this is affiliate marketing by the numbers. Hopefully we're all in the right place and it's not too early to look at a lot of data, because I certainly have a lot of data to share with you today, but it's all good data and hopefully we'll get some good insights out of it. I wanted to start off by introducing myself. I'm Nicole Williams and I'm an Advertiser Account Director at Commission Junction. I've been with CJ for about 3 years, and prior to joining CJ, I was on the publisher or the affiliate side of the business working with coupon and deal sites, actually one site, for 7 years. So I have about 10 years of experience in affiliate, which is hard to believe, and as I say that, I realize how old that makes me look, so let's just pretend I started when I was like 14 or something. So what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to take you through some industry trends and then drill down a little bit and look at some growth highlights over the last year in particular that affected the affiliate industry. And finally, just touch on a few areas of where we should all be focused going into 2010 and beyond. In each section, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in data from industry data from ComScore and eMarketer mostly, and then share a CJ perspective from the numbers that we're seeing from a larger affiliate network, and then also going to share some publisher insight from the 2009 affiliate benchmark survey from NetExponent. And I don't know if Peter is in here or not, but if he comes in later, I'll introduce him as well, because he is responsible for a lot of that data from the affiliate benchmark survey. And that's, I believe that they surveyed about 3,000 affiliates. So some really good data there. At the bottom left of the slides, there'll be a little indicator, a key that will say whether or not it's industry, or indicate whether it's industry data, CJ data, or publisher data. Hopefully, I'll do a good job of explaining that as well. So, and we should be able to get through most of this, so I'm going to wait and ask for questions more towards the end. And just to let you guys know, I'll probably use affiliate and publisher interchangeably, merchant, retailer, advertiser interchangeably as well. So hopefully that'll be okay. Wanted to jump right in with a key piece of data here. Evidently, the amount of alcohol consumption is directly correlated to confidence, and we certainly aren't seeing any of that at Affiliate Summit. I don't know where you guys were on this chart last night. I think I was somewhere around up, and then I had a couple more drinks and started winning at the craps table and was on the other end of the spectrum there. Now I'm back down, but CJ wouldn't let me have an open bar during this session, so hopefully all the data is just going to make us so excited that we're going to have confidence without alcohol. And the reality is that we all rely on consumer spending, and the feedback has been somewhat mixed depending on what perspective you're looking at any given day. And so hopefully some of the data that I'm going to share with you will give you a little bit more insight into what you're hearing out there in the marketplace. I wanted to start off with a true view of consumer confidence. And this is the latest reading from December, which is at 52.9. And while that's low by historical standards, it is on an upward trend. We've seen increases in November and December, and hopefully we'll continue to see that. Consumers, for the most part, remain optimistic about business and labor markets, but are somewhat pessimistic about their short-term prospects, and we'll likely see that play a key role in spending decisions going into the early part of 2010. Consumers do feel that the worst is behind us, and hopefully that's certainly the case. When we look at e-commerce trends as compared to traditional retail, we can see that e-commerce has certainly been better poised to withstand the economic downturn. And you can see this kind of steady stagger here. This is growth year over year by quarter. And for most of 2009, we were using the mantra, flat is the new up, which isn't really all that bad in a down economy. And actually, I think that affiliate was a little bit better than that, at least from the data that we're seeing from CJ and what I'm hearing from the other networks, that we were in an even better position. And we're coming off of the heels of a better than expected Q4, up 4% year over year for e-commerce. So here, certainly, again, the trends indicate that we've bottomed out and hopefully the worst is behind us. Contributing to some of that flatness that we saw with e-commerce is the fact that there are more people online, therefore that's translating to more buyers. The only problem is that buyers are spending less and they're transacting less. So, we'll hopefully see that turn around as the economy rebounds. But this is ComScore data from Q3. I haven't seen the Q4 numbers, but the number of buyers increased 20%. So certainly a good sign. And within Commission Junction, we're certainly seeing this as well, with higher number of transactions overall, but slightly less on the average order side. I wanted to dig down a little bit and share with you some category trends within the Commission Junction network. And there's a lot of data here, so I'm going to try not to spend too much time here, but I think there's some interesting insights as well. Like the industry, we saw categories centered around home entertainment, so recreation and leisure, home and garden, those categories fared a little bit better. And we also saw a slight decline or some flatness in categories where the average order size was higher, like computers and electronics and jewelry. There's a few that I wanted to highlight here. Travel was an interesting one. Definitely saw lifts here in large part from the large aggregators, as well as we saw lifts from mid-range hotel properties. And the aggregators did a really good job of making it easier for the consumers to convert by doing things like waiving booking fees and cancellation fees and offering price match, and we certainly saw that affect the conversions. And then also the airlines, the car rentals, everyone was slashing prices to avoid taking a greater loss and really needing to fill that inventory. I know there were some really phenomenal offers out there. I took advantage of many. The JetBlue all-you-could-jet pass was a great example. I actually tried to take advantage of that, and it was sold out. So all in all, there were a lot of great offers in the travel category, and the affiliates did a great job of showcasing what was out there and putting it in front of the consumers, and the consumers really took advantage of that. We did see a little bit of a rebound also during the beginning of the year when we started to see gas prices drop a bit, and there was some pent-up demand for travel, obviously, more towards the beginning of the year when that happened. Clothing and apparel is another interesting one. We saw a few things happen here. There was a lot of discounting going on in the clothing and apparel category, especially to clear seasonal inventory. And I think that the concept of seasonal with regards to clothing and apparel is interesting because we're starting to hear the term more fast fashion retailers. So these are retailers that are really taking full advantage of all the data that they're getting from their consumers through the widgets on their sites. Charlotte Russe is a great example of this, and really turning around that data and re-merchandising based on the continuously changing trends of the consumer. So it'll be interesting to see really the form that this takes for apparel going into the future, and maybe we'll see less seasonal trends in general and just more of a ongoing movement based on what the consumers are telling the retailers that they want. We saw a few things with clothing and apparel. We saw lifts in both the lower average order size merchants and the merchants that had higher average order sizes. And really, I think what was happening here was that the lower average order size merchants were gaining more of the market share and doing a better job of that, at least the retailers that we have within CJ. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, the higher average order size sites were really able to capture some of that discretionary spend that's still out there. And I've been hearing, from time to time that luxury's dead. And with clothing and apparel, I'm not necessarily sure that that's the case. One of my favorite sites, and I think Cinderella's story for 2009 was certainly Net-a-Porter, and they have an average order size of over $800. Granted, they're based in the UK, and they do have an international reach of about 170 countries, which I'll note is another trend that we're seeing with our advertisers really expanding their reach beyond just the US internationally. But also within clothing and apparel, we have the closed luxury sale sites like the Rue La La's and the Gilt Groups, and those sites are actually doing quite well. And so, it'll be interesting to see what that, discretionary spend continues to do on that higher end of the spectrum for clothing and apparel. And then, obviously, computers and electronics, we had some flatness here. And really, we just came off of a really great holiday season with computers and electronics. So again, I think there was some pent-up demand there. We started to see that rebound a little bit in the holiday season, but just didn't make up enough for positive growth over 2008. And YA is year ago, in case anyone's wondering what that is. And then for financial services, that one is no surprise. Did see a decline there based on everything that was happening with lending. And then jewelry was one that was another high ticket item that fared well during the holidays, but overall, year over year, we saw a slight decline. This is data from the affiliate benchmark survey, and when affiliates were asked what categories drive the most revenue for them, computers and electronics was definitely at the top of the list here. And while the margins are thinner and the payout tends to be a little bit less, there's certainly the volume there. And even though there's not significant growth year over year, these categories still do well for affiliates. And I think books and magazines is similar. The margins aren't as deep with books and magazines, but the volume is there, and it makes sense for affiliates to promote these types of advertisers. And web hosting is one that's a little bit more at the opposite end of the spectrum, maybe not as much volume, but these advertisers are willing to pay to acquire that customer, and so the payouts tend to be a little bit higher. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about each of these categories. I think the real takeaway here, at least what I've seen, is that publishers and affiliates are becoming increasingly savvy about how they determine the mix of advertisers on their site based on the ROI. And some of the affiliates that have a lot of different categories are using algorithms to determine which advertisers to feature. We're seeing a lot more paid placement opportunities out there. And so I think it's really important for advertisers to keep this in mind and remain competitive with their payout or risk losing some of that inventory that they've been used to having in the past to their competitors. So just to go over some of the industry trends, consumer confidence is on the rise. That's a great sign for us. E-commerce continues to outpace brick and mortar, and affiliates even a better position. And as more and more people come online, we are seeing more online shoppers, and that's great news for all of us, because as the economy does rebound, that's going to be more money for all of us here. And then just important to keep in mind the economic influence on advertiser category trends, and really, as an affiliate, understanding the demographics of your website and whether or not you have those people that are spending the $800 on apparel, or you have the travelers. I think that it's important for advertisers to arm their affiliates with this data, and so allowing them to look beyond just what advertisers are performing well, but what kind of products are your consumers buying, and doing that with advanced tracking that would allow the affiliate to look beyond just performance on an advertiser level, but more on a product level. In the next section, I wanted to talk a little bit about some growth trends that have directly affected the affiliate industry, and there's no better place to start really than the coupon and deal vertical. Coupon and deals have always been very strong for the affiliate world and continue to do so. So I think that this slide is a really a good segue into that. And consumers still remain very focused on price. Price is the number one priority for consumers when they're looking to make a purchase. And while things like a trusting relationship and overall experience are still important. All things considered somewhat equal, consumers are certainly going to go where the price is the lowest. And as we all know, consumers are more savvy than they have ever been about being able to find the lowest price. And for advertisers, I think that this says a lot about customer retention and really being able to be competitive, because now I think more so than ever, your brand's not going to retain that customer as much as it used to. And the retailers are certainly responding. This is looking at number of offers per retailer, 2008 versus 2009. And we really thought that there were an abundance of offers in 2008, and we've continued to see that grow through 2009. This data is only going through October, but based on the number of offers that we all saw out there during holiday, you could expect that this continues to rise through the end of the year. And then just looking at the growth, unique growth, and total traffic to the coupon and deal sites, again, phenomenal growth in 2009. We really saw this take off in the holiday season of 2008 when the coupon and deal publishers were getting so much press in such a down economy, and there was a lot of awareness created for these sites, and this continued through 2009. So the numbers tapered off a little bit here for Q3, but again, I did see data from ComScore that indicated that November, I believe, was up 33% year over year for unique, and I think that was considerably higher, obviously, for total traffic. So again, here, I think Q4, you're going to see a pretty big uptick. Maybe not as dramatic as we saw in Q4 of 2008, but still pretty significant. Take a drink. I wanted to talk a little bit also about the coupon and deal segment from the network perspective and from CJ's perspective. And this is data from a sampling of about 500 coupon and deal publishers that were live in the network from 2007 or earlier. And I think it's important to look at a fixed sample over time, because obviously if we look at this data from CJ's perspective and just look at the entire coupon and deal vertical, obviously you're going to see this massive growth, but I think it's really important to look at the same sites year over year and see how they're performing. And here you can see similar trends to what we're seeing in the industry, year over year growth, very significant, even despite significant gains in 2008. And I think this is, again, retailers are offering more discounts out there. There's a lot of affiliate exclusives we're seeing, and for the key partnerships, we're seeing things like vanity codes and affiliate exclusives for the whole entire network. And we're also seeing more flexibility with advertisers allowing trademark bidding with broad match with coupon terms. So all very important when you're considering the traffic that are going to these sites. Also, when you look at the same sample and you look at the revenue trends year over year, you'll see that, clearly it's not going to be as significant as the traffic trends, but 15% year over year growth as far as the revenue that these sites drove is pretty significant in a down economy. And, we're really excited about this. And these sites continue to do very well for us. I think one thing that we're going to see going into 2010 and beyond is advertisers and publisher both are going to take a little bit more of a strategic approach with coupon sites and really use coupons to drive that desirable behavior, whether or not that's acquiring new customers or driving average order sizes, clearing inventory. I think all of those things are going to be looked at a little bit more closely. Also, as publishers, it's important, especially for coupon and deal publishers, to really share data with your advertisers about how your user base is growing, and for advertisers to really look at the percentage of new customers that they're getting from these channels, because it is pretty significant. This is more affiliate benchmark survey, and when affiliates were asked the top 5 effective advertisers offer driving conversions on their site, free shipping was number 1, was the most popular offer that drove conversions, followed by percentage off with no minimum threshold, then limited time offers, interestingly enough, then dollars off with no minimum, and dollars off with minimum. And I think this free shipping piece is really important. Again, I saw ComScore data that indicated that free shipping offers are up significantly as a part of overall e-commerce. I think it was since the beginning of 2008, it's gone up about 11% to 42% of all e-commerce transactions tied to free shipping offers. So it's a pretty significant number, nearly half. It's almost becoming a norm to a certain degree. And when you look at the free shipping offers and look at the average order value, you'll see here that consistently free shipping is tied not only to a significant amount of orders, but also higher average order numbers, or higher average order values as well. And most advertisers do have some kind of a threshold with their free shipping offers. Clearly here you could see in a lot of cases that might be around $100, but still this is a really effective tool for advertisers to use, especially if shipping makes sense for them from a cost center perspective and an ROI perspective. I think looking at holiday a little bit and kind of talking about shipping, I think there was even a free shipping day during holiday this year. What's not indicated on this graphic, it was like December 17th, but we saw a lot of free shipping offers during holiday, and really not only just on that day, but consistently throughout the whole entire season, and especially the extension of shipping offers that we saw based on the snowstorm in the East Coast that last weekend before the holiday. So overall, holiday was a really great story for us, not only for e-commerce, but for affiliate marketing as well. For the overall season, e-commerce was up 4% for November through December. And you can see that most of the key shopping days here had an increase. I'll go back to that in just a second. Within CJ, we saw near double-digit increases year over year for the same advertisers, which was pretty phenomenal. The key shopping days is interesting because I think going into the holiday season, we all really thought that Green Monday, the second Monday of the holiday season, was going to be the breakout day. And in fact, it was the only day that saw a slight decline year over year, with Tuesday, the 15th, being the breakout day of the season and the highest online shopping day overall ever at $913 million, which is just great. But really, lots of great offers spread over the whole entire holiday season, Cyber Monday being the second most popular day. Within CJ, it was a little bit interesting because we saw the shoppers converting on a little bit earlier in the season. Our highest day was Black Friday, and I think that that was a testament to some of the great offers that our publishers were really pushing out there. And offers seemed to come earlier this year, so Black Friday offers were already hitting people on Thanksgiving, if not earlier. And I think that we had this kind of Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend now instead of just those two distinct days like we saw last year. And it actually really ended up working out. So maybe we'll tend to focus less on every single day going into the holiday seasons once the economy rebounds. Our biggest day for growth year over year within Commission Junction was Thanksgiving, and we were up 27% year over year. And again, I think that that's those offers coming earlier and the consumers really looking for those offers earlier. And then again, that weekend before Christmas with the snowstorm and advertisers extending shipping offers, and then just consumers looking for more convenience to shop online. So overall, a really great story for a holiday. Also, social networking played a part in this. To what degree, I don't know if we're able to fully measure that yet, but this data shows of Internet Retailer 500 merchants who has a presence on social networking sites. And almost 3/4, not really surprising, are on Facebook, either in the form of paid advertising or having a place there. And then also, I like this slide because it had some other social networking sites that are more related to social shopping, like the Caboodles, the Style Hives, the This Next. And these models have done well within the affiliate channel. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the social shopping sites, but they're essentially social networking sites that that incorporate shopping tools. They do a really good job with product catalogs. They have some pretty cool bookmarking technology. I'm a big fan of these sites and can probably blame them for a couple $1,000 that I spent in the last year, really just getting recommendations from like-minded shoppers. And I wanted to dig in a little bit and just share some of the data that we've seen with these type of sites within Commission Junction. This is a small sampling of social shopping sites and the traffic that they've grown year over year. And this is the second half of 2008 versus the second half of 2009. And as you can see, significant gains in not only traffic, but in sales as well. The conversions are very strong with these sites. I think that you're getting the consumers when they're in the mindset to shop versus being more distracting with, for example, on a Facebook. And I think that that's something that we're, all going to have to try to figure out how to eloquently market to people when they're in a completely different mindset. Oh yeah, so on the last slide, it was like a Caboodle, a This Next, or a Style Hive. You log in and it's, there's users there that have like, here's all the things that I've purchased, and everyone, kind of has their own little, they could merchandise using bookmarking tools and product catalogs of the things that they like. And so, really instead of having like your pictures and your social updates there, it's all about things that you're buying. It's about trends. And actually on some of those sites, the advertisers can create a presence as well. So Style Hive is a good example. I know that Gap and Zappos and maybe Blue Fly, there's actually several merchants that have created a community, if you will, and they can interact with their users and talk about, what the different trends are. So for me, I kind of look at it as almost like having a group of personal shoppers, because I don't have time to go out and look around and see everything that's out there. So if you can find some people that have some similar taste, then you can kind of latch on to what they're doing and then make your purchases that way. These models have traditionally done really well for clothing, apparel, accessories, but we're starting to see that branch out even more into more like technology. And I did read I think it was a 2009 Razorfish social influence survey that talked about really the influence of these sites and why the traffic isn't nearly as significant as the traffic is to, say, Facebook. The influence is very, very strong. So I think of everyone that they surveyed, and I can't remember the sample size, 18% had visited one of these social shopping sites. But of that 18%, almost 70% have transacted at least once, and then 25% transacted at least 3 times. So, and I'm certainly one of that 25% there. So just looking at some of the growth areas that affected really our industry and e-commerce as a whole, coupons continue to do very well in a down economy and drive incremental revenue for advertisers and really provide a much needed service for consumers. And I think that, I don't know if I mentioned this stat, but I think over 60% of shoppers are looking for coupons when making their purchasing decisions. So just going back to that price being the number one priority. And then the initial results at this point, like the results from holiday, are certainly promising, and hopefully we'll continue to see some of those trends continue into the next year. And then social shopping, I think, is just one success that we've seen, really driving incremental revenue for advertisers, and just new and innovative business models that are adapting to the affiliate business model. And I did want to spend a little bit of time talking about that, really talking about in CJ what we call emerging media as we look ahead. So emerging media is these new and innovative business models similar to the social shopping sites, and we have a group completely focused on finding these type of publishers within Commission Junction and really pulling them in from the outside and educating them about the affiliate marketing business. And a lot of these models fit in quite well to affiliate. And some of them have already proved themselves, and some of them are just getting their legs, and it'll be interesting to watch as we move into 2010 and beyond. I think a couple years ago, we had maybe a handful of these type of publishers, and now we have literally thousands. So it's always interesting to see which ones really start taking off. I'm going to give a few examples here, and I'll try to give examples of specific sites for you as well. But this is just a small sampling of really everything that's out there, just really to give you more of a flavor for what this space is. So the first one is alternative payments. And alternative payments have really already proven themselves within affiliate models. These are sites like Trial Pay, where you can try something or test out a service in lieu of paying for a product. The other one is social shopping, which we just talked about, the Caboodles, the Style Hives. This Next is another good example here. A little bit similar to social shopping is the visual shopping engines. These guys do a really good job with the product catalogs, and it's really searching for merchandise, and the results are all images, and you can hover over them and see what, the prices and what store it's from. I'm a big user of these sites as well. It's amazing how much merchandise you can go through and how closely you can narrow it down. And it just makes the whole shopping experience a lot easier. You just literally have hundreds and hundreds of stores at your fingertips. A few examples here would be Shop Style and Style Feeder. And then mobile shopping. We have publishers that are developing storefronts and mobile widgets for advertisers. M-Shopper, Digby, a couple of examples here. And then e-commerce widgets. There's a lot of models around e-commerce widgets. These models tend to have larger distribution deals with some of the social sites. At least the one that I'm thinking that I have in mind is Free Cause, and really just puts widgets out there, matches the widgets with the content based on really what product mix is there, and tries to match that up to the consumers, and allows consumers to purchase and give back to for a cause, that one in particular. But there's a lot of widget publishers out there. And then virtual currency is a hot topic as of late. And this one is really a model that allows consumers to earn or buy virtual currency for online games, in particular the social online games, so like a Farmville, those type of social networking games where you can buy a cow or some crops or something. I don't know. I don't play them, but this has been huge, and the online gaming industry itself is huge, and it's expected to grow to over a couple $1 billion business in the next couple years. And these publishers, a couple examples would be like an OfferPal or Super Rewards, I think is one. So those have done pretty well for some of our merchants in the network, and it'll be a fun space to watch, see what else comes out of this. And again, I think with emerging media, it's important for advertisers to realize that some of these guys might show an immediate lift for them, but then others, it might take 6, 12, 18 months down the road to really see what they're going to do, and it's important to establish those relationships now, because you really never know who's going to take off. So if you like if you're an advertiser and you like the model and you think it makes sense, then I certainly would say give it a try, because we've seen some great success stories, and clearly these publishers are going to remember when they're starting out really who was there early on. This data was interesting from the Affiliate Benchmark Survey, asking publishers or affiliates how long have they been in the affiliate business, and 50% have been in the business less than 2 years, which is actually really great news and really exciting. I think it really speaks to how innovative affiliate marketing is, and how flexible this model is. And I think that all of the networks are going to really be focused on lowering those barriers to be sure that it's really easy for both advertisers and new publishers to really take part in affiliate marketing. And there's clearly been partners that have been around, for 16 years or longer, which is really hard to believe, but it's been interesting to see those publishers take shape and really move and evolve with the change in technology and the changing consumer behaviors. So Overall, I think it's a really great sign for our industry. This conference as well is a really strong testament to the fact that our business continues to grow. And then just looking a little bit, obviously mobile and social and video to a certain degree are all areas where everyone's really focused on going into the next couple years. I chose to focus a little bit on mobile and social because I think that those are probably going to we're probably going to see those take off a little bit more in affiliate than video, but who am I to say? Video may end up proving me wrong. But on the mobile front, we had a lot of the mobile transactions owned last year by eBay and Amazon, and we're certainly starting to see more advertisers invest in making their sites mobile enabled and their shopping carts mobile enabled. And also the budgets here are kind of interesting to note. The budgets are growing, and I read an article recently that said mobile advertising budgets are going to take a bite out of e-commerce or online budgets. And then someone wrote in a comment, like taking it's like a flea taking a bite out of an elephant. So yeah, that might necessarily be true, but I think that we have to wait and see what happens with mobile, because mobile could certainly take off, and then the budgets are clearly going to shift there. A few other things with mobile is that mobile and social are certainly going to be a synergy there. We're going to see some more fusion between mobile and social. The adoption is clearly there, so I think that while we've heard over the last couple of years that this is going to be the year of mobile, at least now we're seeing those adoption rates, and so I think that we're in a better position to really see some movement, I guess, on that front. And then also the location awareness information is very interesting as well. It's a really good way for brands to engage with their consumers on the go. And consumers are just offering up this information, whereas before it was a lot more difficult to find that, especially for non-customers. And I don't know if you're familiar with Foursquare, but they're really doing a great job of really tapping into that market right now. Mobile couponing is another area to watch. I know that it's really cool to see big companies like JCPenney and Borders investing in the infrastructure and the technology to support mobile couponing, so you can literally have a coupon on your phone and go in at the point of sale and redeem that. And then I think that mobile couponing is expected to grow significantly. I think there were about $5 million in 2009 of mobile coupon transactions, and that's expected to grow to $2.4 billion in the next couple years. So that's certainly a space to watch, and one that I think might fit quite well into affiliate. And then social, again, we could probably have a million slides on social, and I'm sure that there's a lot of really great sessions on social here at Affiliate Summit. And the bottom line here is that here you can see the budgets are about triple that of mobile, growing, and we're going to be really moving from having a presence on social to really engaging with the users within the social networks. And we're already seeing this concept of live customer service really take effect with Twitter. I don't know if you guys have read the stories, especially with airlines seem to be doing a really great job of doing this, but I read a story about a guy that couldn't sit with his family and Twittered into JetBlue complaining about it, and within 15 minutes got a response back, and they sat him with his family. Virgin was another example where everyone started tweeting about the lousy meals, and they actually changed their menu. So it's a little bit, there's a lot of pressure there to really be able to react to the consumers like that. And, in some cases it paying off with some positive PR, and then there's the other end of the spectrum too, where you really have to be on it, or else there's going to be maybe some negative stuff come out as well. But I think what's important for social as well, just beyond establishing that level of engagement is really going to be understanding the measurement, not only of your paid placements, but of your earned media, if you will. So earned media being what you're getting out of consumers engaging about your brand, around your brand in these communities. And we're really going to have to understand how best to measure this. And I think it's important to also keep in mind that the media budgets need to be spent longer and over slower and over a longer period of time to really establish that level of engagement with the consumers. So it's almost more like a push-pull, with the traditional online advertising really pushing the message out towards a target audience. And with social, it's more of a pull, and it's a longer-term engagement, and the budgets are really going to have to be distributed to reflect that. There was something else I wanted to say about social. Oh, another important thing here, I think, is search and social. And we're already starting to see the Twitter results coming up in Bing, and so I think that's going to play a big role as well, and it'll be interesting to see what shape that takes. Okay. It's also important not only for advertisers, but clearly for affiliates and really anyone. I know that CJ has a Twitter account, and we're on Facebook, and we're always engaging with our customers and our prospects. And I think it's important for everyone in this room, for your company, to have some kind of presence on social media. And when this is, again, data from the Affiliate Benchmark Survey, and when affiliates were asked what are the top methods that they use to drive traffic to their site, it was interesting that SEO, social, really two initiatives that are more of a time commitment versus a monetary one really stood out as being the top methods. And then, of course, display, email marketing, and pay-per-click. And I think that the greater strategy is clearly a combination of all of these. But it was interesting to dig a little bit deeper into this as well and see how these priorities changed based on the affiliates. And it was interesting to note that SEO and social were still the top two, regardless of how long affiliates had been in the space. So, the new ones that are coming into the market versus those that have been in the space for a really long time, these were still the two top methods. The only difference was, I think, with the publishers or the affiliates that were making the most money, they were investing a little bit more in pay-per-click. I think SEO was still number one, pay-per-click was number two, and then they tended to engage a little bit more with email marketing. So just wrapping up here, so we can allow a little bit of time for questions. We are in a rebounding economy, and that's going to be great for all of us. And hopefully that's going to happen sooner rather than later. And in order to continue this positive trend, at least that affiliates been on, it's going to be important to grow business and engage new customers by embracing new technologies and increasing social activity. And then also, I think very important, as budgets are being spread across a lot more online initiatives, it's going to be just increasingly important for us. I think we're all really into this mindset after the last couple years, but really continuing to think strategically with a focus on ROI, because as we all know, affiliate marketing does have a very strong ROI. I have seen firsthand large budgets shift over the last couple years to affiliate marketing, and we want to continue to be sure that we can keep hold of those budgets and grow them so we can continue to be in a great place with our business. And just in closing, I think that we're all in a really great place. I think there's a ton of opportunity out there. There's really no place that I'd rather be, and I hope that everyone's really excited about the prospects that we have ahead of us. And I really encourage you to take advantage of all the opportunities that are out there and the partnerships while you're here at Affiliate Summit. I know I certainly will be. And I want to put my favorite slide up here again, because even though we didn't have an open bar in the session, hopefully I was still able to increase your confidence a little bit with some of the numbers that I shared with you. So with that, thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Yes. Okay. That's a good question. The question was, what percentage of affiliates within CJ are active in any given month? And I'm not sure that I know offhand in any given month for all the verticals combined. I know we have close to 70,000 active affiliates in the network. So how that breaks out by month, I'm not entirely sure, but that's a good question. Definitely in the double-digit thousands. That's a good question. The question was how much of a percentage of revenue come from affiliate for merchants, and I think it varies a lot based on the merchant. Sometimes it can be significantly high, like maybe 30%. I think that you'd be surprised that for some of the really big retailers, it's quite high as well. Just firsthand from some of the accounts that I've been working on over the years, it can be even the larger ones, because I tend to focus on some of the larger retailers, it can be as high as 10%. So pretty significant, and it's really almost gaining more share as we get more budget as well, because it does tend to be a little bit more profitable than some of the other channels. I thought I saw another question back there. Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about B2B trends you see, product categories, services, where you see that going?
Yeah, definitely. I work with some advertisers that have expanded their affiliates offerings to include B2B, and we certainly are seeing that as an area of growth within Commission Junction. So not only are, we have like the web, we've always had like the web hosting guys, but we're seeing like a lot of the bigger companies branch out. We're seeing some of the computer resellers and some of the software providers really looking to expand their business and looking to affiliate. And a lot of the B2B focus when advertisers come in is really around content sites and niche sites, and that's really what they're looking for affiliate to provide. And it does take a little bit longer to engage some of the content sites, and a lot of times it's only just a few people that might be running those sites. And so that's, again, I think part of CJ's job to lower that barrier, to make it a lot easier for those type of sites to work within the affiliate channel and then take on more of those relationships. But that seems to be the hot area when we look to B2B. It seems that a lot of the retailers are coming in and saying, what kind of content sites do you have for us? Like, that's really where I want to be. I want to be on sites like this. And review sites have been popular as well for software and B2B. And I'm probably talking from like my limited scope of what I'm focused on within CJ, but certainly an area that we see growing. And I think that also, just on that note too, I think there's going to be some more synergies too with advertisers becoming publishers, and that's going to probably work in that B2B arena as well. Yes. Oh wait. Yeah, that's a tough one, because I think in certain verticals you do see a lot more traffic based on how they're targeting their audience. So clearly the conversions are going to be a little bit lower there. I have a mix of advertisers that I've been working on, and I would say it varies between like 5 and 10%. But again, that could be significantly lower depending on the amount of volume of traffic. There was another question back there. Yeah.
I'm curious, if we see a synergy where publishers become advertisers and vice versa, are networks like CJ going to create a special accounting factor? So rather than you send me a check every month and I send you a check every month, that the money would just stay and recycle?
That's a good, interesting concept, and I don't know how it'll play out, really. I mean, it seems like any efficiencies that we could find would certainly make sense. I mean, I think for both sides, really, because all of that's a cost center as well for the networks. So I definitely see that. I don't work firsthand right now with any advertisers that have become publishers or vice versa, but I know that they're definitely out there. I don't know that we have that right now, but it's certainly, I think if we continue to see growth there, that would be an area that would make sense.
Can you give us some insight into, sort of, you look at the typical life cycle of an affiliate program as far as a merchant moving from your own private program to a network or vice versa? What are you seeing in the industry? Are they starting within a network and then moving to a privately run program with their own tracking system, for example, or do they come to the other way, or a certain mix?
Well, a lot of I mean, I think that I haven't worked with too many that we've obviously worked with CJ with advertisers that have come from other networks. I think a lot of the big ones have had networks for a while. I'm, personally working with a few right now that are moving from in-house to CJ, and we are finding that we're seeing better conversions overall, even from some of the same, clearly, it's a lot of the same partners that we're moving into CJ, and for whatever reason, we're seeing improved performance. But as far as just an overall trend for all the thousands of advertisers that we have in the network, and whether, X percent have moved from other networks or moved from their in-house program or vice versa, we really aren't seeing a lot of them leaving to start their own in-house programs, so that's a good sign.
How important does the role of pay-per-call play in CJ's offers, and what percentage of revenue or offers does that hold in CJ, and what future do you predict for pay-per-call in CJ, and would your comments be different for networks in the Middle East?
Good question. So really just asking about pay-per-call, and we're really starting to see pay-per-call take off within Commission Junction, and I think it's certainly going to be an area of focus. There's a little bit of breaking down the barriers, because a lot of times the call centers live elsewhere within the companies and the budgets are distributed differently. And so it's really, I think that we've had to do a lot of education, and we've managed to get past that. And so now I think that we're in an area where we can really focus on growing that part of the business. Right now, I'm not sure what percentage of the business it is. It's quite small, because we're really just starting out with that. But we do have a lot of really key advertisers that are interested in this, and it really does make sense. And it'll be an interesting area to watch. And I think, in regard to location, it could be really anywhere. I can't specifically talk about, how better pay-per-call may perform for.
We are actually based in Turkey, so I was just wondering, for a developing market, how would that play?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good question, because right now I think the way that the model works is that we're creating 800 numbers, if you will, for advertisers, or for publishers. So it is a little bit more focused on the U.S. right now, but overall we're looking to expand internationally in all of our efforts. So that one will certainly be one as well.
Actually, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Do you think one day or sometime in the future, social media will take over SEO in terms of affiliate marketing?
As far as the traffic that,
Right now, social media is already getting very close to SEO, right?
mhm.
Now, I need to know the concept of this in terms of affiliate marketing. Somebody else doing it.
Someone else maintaining your social presence in an effort to boost SEO?
Exactly.
Yeah. I can't say right now if it'll overtake. I think it's going to be a combination. Right now, social really plays largely into SEO results, right? And so I think that we're seeing a lot of companies invest in putting some manpower behind maintaining the social piece of the business, really just focusing on the Twitters and maintaining the Facebooks and keeping that level of engagement, because it is going to be more closely tied in with search. So I would imagine that it's probably going to have a pretty big impact on search based on the traffic numbers that we
Well, there are
see.
a lot of social media companies these days, they handle social media for you.
Mm-hmm.
And there are also some companies that can handle SEO work for you. But I'm kind of figuring out if.
I think
social
those
media-
companies need to work together.
There are very few companies, actually, for this, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There are some companies that work together. Also, they have to work together. You have to outsource my work to one company or to two different companies. For social media, SEO, or probably even TV.
I think it depends on what your needs are. It's hard to say, I think, based on, how much social activity you're really anticipating and how much manpower that's going to take. It's a good question, but I think it's a little bit early to really understand. I know that in most of the larger companies, in some cases, they just have a social person internally that's a different person from SEO.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I think that, they're constantly meeting, and, I think that line's going to blend a little bit more as we really see the impact that social and search is going to have. Is it almost time for lunch? Or a drink? I don't know. Well, thanks a lot, everyone. I really appreciate it.